Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our C# programming tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at indexers in C#. Now, what are indexers? Well, indexers allow us to use the square bracket syntax to reference elements in a collection. So whenever we use the square brackets with an index to reference a value from an array or a list, that is an indexer. All right. Now, how exactly then do we create an indexer? Well, we first need a class that can act as our collection. All right. So what we'll do. All right. So what we'll do is first off we need to go into Visual Studio Code. And inside of VS Code, I'm inside of a stack.cs file. Let's create that class. So public class stack. All right. Next, we need to have a couple of fields. We could have a couple of fields anyway, or we could just have one field. It depends on how you exactly want to implement this. I'm going to have one field, and that being the being a list that will act as the internal storage for this collection, quote unquote. All right, so here we need to say private list. This list is going to contain strings. We'll call this _data equals a new list of strings, like that. Next, we need to now, of course, I guess what I should do instead is I can cut this, and then inside of our constructor we can say this dot _data equals a new list of strings, like that. All right. Now we can go ahead and create our indexer. To create our indexer, we're going to use similar syntax to a property, and really that's kind of almost exactly what an indexer is, sort of, but not at the same time. Here we need to use the this keyword. So what we need to do is first say public, because this needs to be public. The type that we want to get when we use our accessor, which is a string. Then, after the type that we want to return, we use this. And then open a square bracket and a closing square bracket. In between the brackets, we need int index. And then we open its body. Inside of our indexer's body here, we need to give it the accessors. So get and set, similar to a property. Get here we're going to do some safety checks. If index is less than 0 or index is greater than underscore data dot count minus 1, we want to throw a new index out of bounds exception. Let's see. New index out of bounds exception. Like that. Out of range exception, sorry. I'm thinking in Java. Index out of bounds, out of range exception is what we need to throw here. Otherwise, we want to return underscore data index. Like that. Now we can say set. And in here, we are going to say, we're going to say underscore data it's going to be data index equals value. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, let's get rid of that then. There we go. That works. Okay. So that is our indexer. Let's go back over this real quick. So for our indexer, we have a public string sort of property looking thing here. And so what we're going to do here then is we're going to use the this keyword with the int index in between square brackets. This is what allows us to do the square bracket value, referencing a value inside of a collection syntax that we do with our list below and with our arrays and stuff like that. In our get accessor, we are first testing to make sure that the index is within range. So if it's less than 0 or it's greater than the amount of elements in our internal list minus 1, then we will throw an exception, an index out of range exception, which will tell any consumer of this class, hey, this was an invalid index if it doesn't meet those requirements. Otherwise, we just return the value at the given index in our internal list. Then, for our set accessor, we're simply setting a new value for whatever value is at that index in a list. Pretty simple stuff, actually, so far. Let's go ahead and create a method called push, and this will simply just push an element onto the stack. So here we can say public void push string element okay, and we'll make this an expression bodied method. All right, so after the fat arrow here, we can just say underscore data dot add element, like that. Okay, and so now what we can do is we can save this, and we can go back into Program CS. In Program CS, we can say stack my stack equals a new stack, like that. Here, we can now say, for example, my stack dot we want push and then in here we will say hello world. Okay, there we go. Now, let's go ahead and say console write line my stack 0, like that. Go ahead and save that. And we will run our code here, so .NET run. And we get hello world. Now, to confirm to you that this is in fact our class that's being used rather than the one inside of the system collections generic namespace, you can see that we're not using any sort of like angle brackets or anything like that that we would with a list, but we can also what we can also do is public void display elements and inside of here we can say for each string element in underscore data, you can say console write line element. Save this. We can go back into our here into our program CS. And instead of our console write line statement, we can say my stack dot display elements. Save that. We can save this, go into our terminal, .NET run, and we get the same thing. Let's go ahead and add a couple more. We can say my stack dot push hello world 2. Let's see. Four, 5. Okay, so we have a couple elements now. If we save this and we go back into our terminal, we say .NET run. And there we go. We get Hello World 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is pretty much how we can use accessors to create our own custom collections in C# and just generally how we can use accessors to our advantage. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.